Welcome, friends. It's Saturday over here. Saturday everywhere in the world, I guess, unless you're over the international date line, in which case it's Sunday already for you. Not really sure if anybody's watching from the other side of the planet, but I think that would be pretty cool if anybody was. Welcome. True Voice of Reasons here already. Good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time-ish. I'm on live today because I got some new things. This may not be a very long stream today, so we're going to keep it sort of concise. I will do questions and answers throughout the whole thing, so if you have any questions, anybody's curious about myself, the channel, the content, things that I'm going to be opening today, I'm going to try to go through that with as much consistency and conciseness as possible. Hello, welcome. New toys, yes indeed. Some of them audio, some of them not audio, but we'll get through it. We're going to enjoy this together today. It's just myself, no interviews, no guests today, unless somebody wants to message me privately. And maybe I can bring people on here in the future and do like a fanfare, right? Like I can bring on guests and people that I know, if we can all agree to do a podcast together, talk about some things. Let me just adjust some audio here in this space. I've got a 4K demo screen going in the background with my TV. So Anthesius is here, Nick is here. Thank you guys for being here. All right, let me just open something up just to start this off. I don't know what this is. All the stuff did come from Amazon. Some of it is audio related, some of it's not audio related. And that's just how we're going to do it. I don't know how they... So be safe when you're opening stuff. Don't open boxes like me. I'm not here to give people advice, but I think that's pretty good advice. I don't know what's in these boxes, so I'm just going to be careful about opening them. I did a sort of unboxing last week. You guys let me know how my audio sounds, if there's anything wrong with it. It's a box. Yes, it's a box, and it actually has my address on it in certain places, so I need to be careful of that. Okay, the first thing on my unboxing list is more storage. This is a 4 terabyte portable SSD. The read and write speeds are fast enough for what I need it to do. It's by Crucial SSD. It's protected. It's got 2100 megabits, so 2.1 gigs, pretty much. It's not as fast as the M.2 drives, but the problem that I see with using M.2s is they typically need... Sounds excellent, thank you very much. M.2s typically need different kinds of external drives. I wanted to do a direct access, a DAS instead of an NAS, a network access storage, direct access storage. Let me see what's going on. Can't wait until I get USB 4. What is that? USB 4. What is that gear? And so M.2 drives, I wanted to get a bigger enclosure, but the enclosure plus the drives and the read-write speeds for what I'm going to be using it for, I didn't really feel like the cost was as necessary. One of these cards at 4 gigabits costs about 30 or so % less than it would to do an M.2 drive. And USB 4. Okay. I usually would be like -4, and I'll have to look into it. So these drives at 4 terabytes is going to help me store a lot of the video content that I've been doing for YouTube, with all the cameras and extra stuff that I got. I mean, I have so many different things around here now. I got all kinds of DJI cameras, action cameras for different views. the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, my phone that I'm using. I've got so much stuff to record and capture video. And with the number of audio shows that are coming up throughout the year, I'm kind of running out of audio space, or not audio space, but storage space. So I needed something that's going to help me keep on top of that, something reliable, also something portable. So if I'm going out on the road and I have my laptop with me, then I can bring one of the drives with me. Now, this one, because it's bigger, I don't need 4 terabytes on the go. I have a 2 terabyte drive that's got my storage on it now. So what I'm going to do is use the new drive to supplant all of that other data, and then I'm going to upgrade the storage as I need. I don't need anything failing, so this is something of an investment towards keeping on top of my work going forward. So that's the first thing. 4 terabyte crucial SSD drive, about 2 gigs of read and write speeds, plenty enough for me. And the M.2 drives are really good. They're about 7 gigabits of write speed, so it's much faster. And I think that'll be really good for my long-term video editing, but I don't really need one just yet. All the USB 3.2 stuff is a 10 gigabit sort of transfer rate. So if I got M.2 drives on the outside of the computer for my video editing and all the audio processing, then an M.2 drive at that point is really important. That being said, the M.2 drive is important for other such types of storage, such as if you have a streamer of some kind that has network storage on board, then you can use M.2 drives in the streamer itself, such as Eversolo models. A couple of the other Rose HiFi models, I think, have internal storage, and you can attach those cards inside there, which is great because their read-write or their read speeds are very, very high, which means your buffer speed is very high. In a streamer, you don't get any lag. That would be good, and I'd like to test some of the streamers over a NAS drive. So if your music is stored off the device and on the network, what are the speed differences between being storage built in and being on the NAS? So that's something that I'm going to have to look into in the future. So box number 2, also from Amazon. Thank you, Mr. Bezos. How are you guys doing today, Saturday? I do want to talk about one thing, though, just before I get going. Or I should say before I go any further here, even though I'm opening this box still and try not to cut my hand open. Let me share my screen, and I just want to share a detail with you. Let me see, studio. Okay, so I'm going to move that to the side. We're going to do share content. So let me know how you're doing out there. I know that a lot of people watch on tablets and TVs, and in which case a lot of the times you can't comment or be part of the conversation, which, you know, that kind of sucks. I kind of wish that we could communicate a little bit better. And the reason why I'm using chat and I go on live like this is so that I can generate conversation and I can speak with an audience. So I wanted to add this. Right here is the important number. Right now, can't really, okay, there we see the mouse. I am very, very close to that 2,000 subscriber mark. Right now, this is where we're currently at. I'm not doing the stream necessarily to get subscribers, but I'm showcasing it because any kind of support that any channel receives allows them to do further work. And I just wanted to showcase this bit and to thank everybody who's been supporting a lot of the videos. One of the videos here, this one for the Eversolo preview, has gotten quite a number of views. I know that the T8 is not readily available yet. There are a number of channels that did talk about it. So I do appreciate everybody who comes in to support, and I just wanted to mention that before I go any further. Yep. All right, let's see what else is in this other box. Yep, 10 more. 10 more people. Imagine these guys are in their 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 people out there in the audio world. And I mean, it's about sharing. And I saw a number of different channels today, and I do support pretty much everybody. I like to comment and share and talk about a lot of the different stuff that my friends and peers are doing out there. And they're doing great content. A lot of it is very tuned, edited. It's something that people like, and that's great. I love to see my friends doing great work. Wow, oh my God, how come there's so much packaging in here? There's like this giant box. Wait till you see what actually came in this box. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to follow that one up. All right, so I was just talking about storage, and I did pick up the portable SSD for storage. Now I have a mini computer, and I have a laptop that I use for my video and editing and photography on the go, and that's what that device is for pretty much. This one, however, is the other type of storage I was talking about. That's the M.2 drive that has the much faster read and write speeds. This one is going into a new streamer that I'm getting. I haven't talked about what it is. I did tease it a number of days ago that I was getting something new, that I had ordered a number of different devices or components that I'm going to be getting in the system. So this drive, the M.2 storage drives that have the really fast speeds, 4 terabytes is actually, I would say 40% bigger than my current music library. I record all of my CDs, and I rip all of my CD data and downloaded files and all that stuff. I have them all on hard drives somewhere. So having an onboard library in the streamer and on network is going to allow me to access all of the different previous tracks that I have saved and ripped and all that kind of stuff. So see, is it the Eversolo APA? And well, I can't tell you that yet because I want that video to be exciting. I can't tell you which streamer it is, but it's a giveaway that it will support M.2 storage. So whichever one has M.2 storage in it, it could be one of those. Can't tell you yet. Why would I come on early and give it away? That's like, instead of watching the trailer, I just showed you who died at the end of the movie. Can't do that. So anyways, this is the other device. Western Digital is very renowned, and they have good quality, and that's what I picked up. So that's 4 terabytes going into the future streamer, network streamer. I'm excited about that because having all of my previous songs and library on the device in order for me to scroll through, because there's a lot of stuff that I can't find anymore, that I have on CD, that I have downloaded, that has been in a library forever, that I'm going to be able to play on my 2-channel system. And this is going to allow me all of that access again, plus a lot of extra space for future updates. So like ripping more CDs, downloading more files. If I get anything from like, say, HD tracks or Qobuz downloads or anything like that, then this is going to help me store all of my files. And instead of using like an external drive like I was just showing, the USB drive like one of these, the read and write speeds or whatever of the device is one thing. I don't think that that's going to be an issue for music. However, this being built in, I can actually access it on the network from inside the device rather than it being like a dongle and a piece that's outside the device. So I think that's going to be a benefit. I'm excited about this one. This is the big one. It can be used for a lot of other things, of course. I can put it in different devices if I find it's being underutilized. But yeah, that's a big one. Let me see. What else did I get today? This device is, instead of using like an enclosure to host and to hold all of my devices, I looked at the price of like NAS and DAS storage devices, and they're upwards to like 200, 300, 400, maybe even more, depending on what kind of drive it is, and holds hard disk drives and SSD drives, and they were just really expensive. So I thought, okay, these ones already come with a USB-C cable, which is a 10 gigabit transfer rate. The drive itself has a 2100 transfer, so it's way underutilized there. So what happens if I just skip the storage space and I just use a multiple USB-C 3.2 splitter, right? I can just use one of these and attach my drives to here. I don't need the big enclosure. This costs way, way less. I'm not running a lot of data over it at high speeds. It's not constant 4K editing. It is a high quality device. This one came rated very well, so I don't see any problems with it. So I'm going to be using this one instead of the enclosure. So let me see. So now that I have a moment, I'm getting busy food shopping, need to do some plumbing in the kitchen. Yeah, that's pretty pretty intense work to be done. Plumbing in the kitchen. Future carpentry, cool. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Never mind the like button. The like button's one thing, the subscribe button's a whole other thing. Conversation in the chat would be even better. I mean, that's the thing that actually generates a lot more interest, content. It's not just me talking, and that's not why I come on here. I'm hoping to inspire people to think about what it is that they're doing with their system, small little things that you can adjust or use, or things that make your quality of life or listening sessions easier. If it's a new chair, a new carpet, a new treatment, a new device. I mean, in this case, it's going to be storage that allows me to use whatever I want, like all kinds of music that I want on that device at any time, with extra bandwidth per se, so I can add a lot more stuff in the future without worry about it. So let me see. Carpentry, yes. Something I wish I had space to do. I have so many ideas for audio speakers and all that kind of stuff, and just no space to create them. I would love to work with people and like come up with some ideas and, you know, generate some kind of like prototyping, that kind of thing. But I have no space of my own, being in an apartment, and can't use tools really. I mean, I guess I could use tools in here, but I would really annoy the neighbors, and I don't really like to do that. So if I'm listening to music or playing anything, it's not at reference. It's usually about 75 decibels. I'm okay with that. It doesn't need to be 80, 85. I don't push it much louder than that when I'm just sitting to enjoy some stuff. Okay, so here's the big one. There's going to be a timestamp here somewhere. Where are we at timestamp wise? 18 minutes? That's about long enough. This next box is going to have some stuff that's more audio related, so hopefully you guys are ready. Bathroom shelf, boombox. Yeah, that's cool. I actually might want to push some of my audio into other spaces because I have a lot of extra audio here. So give me a second. We're going to get this box opened up. We'll see what you guys think of this one. It's a big box. This stuff has been on my list for a while. So there's a number of things in here, and we'll save the best for last, okay? Agree? Okay. So, ASMR moment. You're welcome. Cooney. Who's Cooney? So the first thing that's on the list out of the last box. Yeah, I had to do it. I know that there's a lot of streaming platform stuff like that out there, But this one was released just a short while ago. I love the John Wick series. I think that their sound design is actually really great. I like the story and the action in the movies. Also, actress is incredibly hot. I definitely going to enjoy this later on today. So that's the first thing that's in this latest box. The ballerina part of the John Wick series. I think John Wick 4 or 5 is in production now too. I saw something about that. So yeah, there's that. If you guys have seen this, don't spoil it for me. That'll be on my watch list later on today. It's actually funny. I have all the other movies here ready to go also. So this one needed to happen. All right, what else do we got? I bought a lot of storage today. So this one's sort of related to more like at-home stuff. It's important, but it's more like home security related. It's a 64 micro SD extreme, so it can capture 4K content, that kind of thing. Read and write speeds on this one, if you're curious, is 170 megabits compared to this one, which is 2100 megabits. And this one, which is 7,300 megabits. So the technology and the range of bandwidth between these and these is enormous. M.2 technologies right now are some of the fastest, and it sounds like if USB 4 or whatever is coming, the quality of the device, I mean, the reason why you want higher bandwidth is so that you can get more data on board faster. This will be plenty for what it's for. And what it is for are these. These are at-home Wi-Fi security cameras. They are powered. They will be connected to the home Wi-Fi network. These are stationary cameras. 1080p is plenty good enough. I've had really good success with these cameras at home so far. I've had no problems, no glitches, no errors. Cooney from Weird Al's UHF. I haven't seen that in a long time. You're dating yourself there, Brad. So these will go together. There's a number of them. I have a bunch of cards anyways, but these ones have always been pretty good for me. So that's that. I have a number of them here. Just a couple of angles at home that I needed to cover. So these were going to cover things like the kitchen. Sometimes I'm in an apartment, and the reason why I have it all is just so I can monitor what's going on inside the apartment, and I can document whatever happens in here for the landlord. So say when my floor flooded twice last summer, this past summer, and I needed to get the piping repaired, these cameras at home capture something that happens in the apartment so I can report it the same way that your dash camera will capture anything on the road or anything else. Say if something's, if a driver hits you or there's an accident off to the side or whatever the information is that you need to relay, these cameras in certain areas are going to be able to capture something that happens. Now, I'm in an apartment, so if something happens, say in another apartment or something with the plumbing, I mean, I can't have cameras in the bathroom, obviously. I'm sharing the bathroom now, but once I have that resolved, then I will probably put a camera in my bathroom too, which sounds a little weird, I understand. But say if there's a plumbing issue in my building and something happens to the bathroom, I want to be able to protect myself in such a way that I have information, I have data, I have video footage, I have some proofs that I can put into basically to protect myself from anything that happens. They're going to argue and say, oh, what if this, what if this, what if that, whatever. While having this surveillance and the information to say, no, this is what happened, gives me a little bit of peace of mind and protection. So that's why I have these. And I'm reliably use them at home. I have one in the back corner right there, which I can't show you. I could probably show you on camera. Let's do that. Let me just prove that I've got a camera behind my head. And I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. Let me see if I can tap into the window. Why not? I'm in a sharing mood. I don't think there's anything too sensitive on these cameras right now. Anyways, there's no information that you're going to be able to find. Not this one. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. Share screen, window. There. So there's the camera behind my head. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So this application basically allows me to switch through my multiple cameras, and I can check on stuff like my front window just to make sure that like nothing happens with the window. If something breaks, an animal crawls through the window, I can check all that stuff in my other room. And then so all of this stuff is set up. I have everything monitored. Pretty cool stuff. So that's what the cameras are for. Let me see. There we go. Okay. So that's oversharing, but that's proof behind what I'm going to use cameras for. They do have night vision. They do have recording. They do have scheduling. They have AI monitoring. They have motion detection, person detection, all that kind of stuff built in. The software's been reliable. A friend of mine does photography in the city. Had just moved, and we're sort of casual, but I had put up something about security cameras or something at home, and I reliably, I said, well, here's my experiences. This is what I've noticed. This is the company that I use. These have been pretty good. And like that, they work really well. The software works really well. I get notifications on my phone anytime something happens. As long as the Wi-Fi's on, obviously the power's on. You can power cycle the connections with certain timers. Like you can time and like restart the camera. Say if you're away from home and they go offline for whatever reason, then that's a problem. But other than that, I think they've been pretty good. So should they close system, or do you need phone home for use? I don't know what you mean by closed system. They're not linked to their own, like they don't record to a central hub. They're not all hardwired to a system that's like aside from everything else. They do function on Wi-Fi. That application they're all streamed through the home Wi-Fi network. So they're not as secure as something like you can put on like an APC and it will remain powered if the power goes out at home kind of thing. Like I don't need that. What am I protecting? I mean, I have, home insurance or whatever, or like this stuff is already kind of taken care of. It's just more or less for day to day. Like if something happens, if there's contractors that come in, this is a problem I've had with apartments. I want to know if someone's coming into the apartment or if something happens in the apartment for my own protection's sake. It's not necessarily like I need to secure a place of business or products or whatever. If I had a warehouse, then I would have a closed system. So these ones just run off Wi-Fi. They have their own storage built into each device, and then everything runs on the network where you can access everything through the internet. Now, I don't know if there's a really big security risk with that. I know that any kind of surveillance and anything online has some risk. It is what it is. I don't think that anybody is going to find me as a person of interest or anything valuable that comes out of this space. There's zero need for someone to show any interest in whatever's going on here. So I'm not really concerned about that. What else do we have? Oh. Does anybody recognize the name? We're almost at the good stuff, I promise. This isn't actually as exciting as I thought. It's just zip ties. Just bags of zip ties. But like lots of bags of zip ties. When you're in electronics and you do a lot of like electrical work and you are customizing things, where I have multiple projects now where things are being adjusted and placed around the room, and I'm using, you know, I guess I could make bracelets with them, but yeah. Just needed some more. I've been using these quite a bit lately, so I grabbed a whole bunch. These are pretty cheap, but they're bags of 100 each of multiple useful sizes. Pretty good stuff. Like for instance, the other day I was using my earbuds. These are, I can't remember what these are. Pretty decent sort of like KZ10, whatever you want to call it, in-ear monitors. And when I'm playing games, there's one side that has the microphone on it, and I use one of the zip ties to like shorten, can't really see it, but I use the zip tie to shorten the length of the cable, pretty much. So that way when I'm playing games, the microphone's actually closer to my face rather than like on my neck. So if I'm playing games, right, and I've got this on my ear, this would touch my necklace. So with my zip tie, then I can actually shorten the length, and then the microphone's closer to where my mouth is. So certain things like that, I use the zip ties for lots of stuff. And especially now that I'm, you know, I have lots of different systems going and audio pretty much in every room. Zip ties are a godsend. So don't need to contact manufacturer daily, monthly, menu, cloud service. Okay, so it's all at home. I don't pay for any of these services. I don't pay for any of the softwares. There are features like cloud storage, automatic like photo and clip sending to you on your phone, smart features. There are other plans that you can buy into, but no, I'm using them just as a free basis through the Wi-Fi network. I mean, it's password protected under my control, so you can't access any of that stuff without my passwords or my protocols within the router and within the network itself. So in that sense, yeah, it's closed system where nobody's monitoring it. It's not like ADT or like whatever these other companies are called where you need to use their service. It's not Simply Safe. Simply Safe is a company that has lots of cameras and services on their phone, and it dials back to their access where their services can monitor the cameras and they can update you and that kind of stuff. It's not like that. So it's not subscription based. I don't pay for it monthly. I just buy the device, put the card in, set the cameras up, and then I monitor it myself. So in that sense, I guess it's closed system. So here, what are we at? 34 minutes? I think that's long enough. I finally did it. These are the V3 monos that everybody and their dog has been talking about for the last 2 years. The ones that people have said sound decent. Some that people have said burst into flames. So also the model that some people had said that the circuit was, initially they went out and there was something wrong with the circuit where the the connections were out of phase inside the chassis. And I'd love to find out if they were fixed or not. I don't know how I'm going to be able to find out without opening it up. I'll probably have to open it up. But that's the model. It's the V3 mono with the XLR input and RCA input with gain selection between 16 and 25 or 19 and 25. I think 19 is more than enough. I think there's simultaneous connection, the RCA and XLR and TRS connection. I think they're all active at the same time. No, there's a selector switch at the front for XLR. Hello, Scotty. What's going on, my man? It's the cheap audio. Good enough. I mean, like, I want to compare this to things that I have coming in. I have monoblocks on tap. Oh, look, something that nobody's talked about. Look at the feet. The feet actually have the logo on board. That's crazy. The feet actually have the logo in it. How much extra money did it cost them to put the logo on the feet? That's crazy. So I'm going to have to verify with them the serial numbers that went out. I have the model number. It says that QC passed, but I know they had problems with their polarity, so I'm going to see how that works out. And these binding posts are really, really shitty. Not to say that, I mean, just like, look at them. They're tiny. They're not anything special at all. So anyways, these models, really good packaging. These models did come with the 48 volt power supply. .48-volt power supply. I'm assuming it's a regular switch mode power supply, but it's pretty cool that it's external and not internal. So having a power supply that's external from your amps is going to give you at least a little bit of sound noise control. And of course, because it's a monoblock, I have two of them. This is something I've waited for a while. I mean, I have a couple of other items that are on the way that are just taking a while to get here. And I've been curious about these for a long time. I mean, they've been tested by everybody. Aaron's had them. Aaron, one of the ones that he was stress testing apparently started smoking. So I won't be driving them that hard, that's for sure. That's kind of cool that this cable can be upgraded. But I mean, then you still have the other side to deal with. I mean, I don't know what kind of quality that is. But if you decide to go audiophile quality cable on this side, then you can upgrade this to the power supply and then out from there. So that's cool. That's possible. Yeah. So Fosi V3 monos. I've wanted these for a while. I know that a lot of people have talked about them. There's information on them everywhere out there. I'm going to do my best just to bring like my experiences with them. What I'm going to do is compare them versus other things that I have. Same build quality, same basic aesthetic from the outside. I can't see that there's any change. And I know that they had some issues. Like I said, they were wired. Some of the polarity was off to begin with. So We'll just have to bypass that. We'll have to see if I can get any information from the brand about models or when they got sent out, or if I need to do anything with these in order for them to be correct polarity inside the amps themselves. Yeah, so the warning on the top is to avoid potential damage, please connect all necessary cables and devices to the amplifier before turning on, which means that it's like a closed circuit type of amplifier. The same thing that was necessary for my Orchard Audio amps. Leo at Orchard Audio, great guy, great designer, had always recommended to have all of the devices, inputs, and speakers, everything connected all at the same time, to not have the circuit open when the device was turned on. The same with tube amps. Apparently, if you turn on or power up a tube amp and don't have the load connected to the tubes when they fire on, then bad shit can happen. So I suspect these are the amps when you can upgrade the op amp to Sparkos brand. Yeah, they are. There's some of them. I mean, I asked other engineers, and they say that op amp rolling, for the most part, the same thing with a lot of other things. Like now Spotify's got 24-bit 44.1, and a lot of people are crying about the quality. Like, oh, why is it so low? I don't think anybody that's like already using Tidal or Qobuz are going to be crying so much about... The microphone keeps slipping. I'm not sure that any of the audiophiles that are already using high bit, like high res stuff, are going to cry about using Spotify at all. Why are they using 2441 instead of like 192, 96, whatever the case may be? Because statistically speaking, a lot of people can't really hear the difference. They're not, the large part of Spotify's market is not going to be missing out on the difference between 44.1 and 96 kilohertz. That's just their demographic. So why would they use a bandwidth, or why would they use more bandwidth when they don't have to? Like, you know, the Sony Philips sort of Red Book standard for CDs did great, and it's still better than most streaming, period, in my opinion. So they don't have to. So op amps, this one, the comment, the op amps, I asked a number of different engineers, both at Purify Audio, Dylan at Buckeye Audio, because those are the amps that I have, and a number of others had voiced the same thing, where op amp rolling may or may not benefit your musical experience depending on how sensitive and attuned to sound differences you are. Some people may not hear the difference. If you rolled them and you may hear a difference, you may not hear a difference. Good morning. Is it morning? It's not morning. It's 1:44 in the afternoon, sir. Good to see you. We are talking about the Fosi V3 monos, which I just got today, and I will be demoing versus some other amps that I have. I have Buckeye Audio amps now that are Purify modules. I don't have any other monos at this point. These are my basically second or third set of monos, and I probably will be getting other monos in the future, but I don't want to spoil it yet. If they come in, then you'll know, and we'll all kind of do that. Oh, it is morning. Pacific time, it is morning, so I'm on early over here. 10:04. Okay, cool. Well, good morning to you guys. I did mention earlier that unless it's over the international date line, then maybe people are watching from different areas, and in some places it's already Sunday. So that's the extent of my unboxing. This is the audio portion of the unboxing. I'm glad that you guys are here. The more audio sort of interested guys are here at the back end of the stream. These V3 monos, like I said, were on my list for a long time. A lot of the other reviewers and testing and all that stuff, all the data and specs are already online. They seem to do well in a moderate, like in a moderate sort of environment. I won't be using them for like hypercritical listening. I'm not going to be pushing them very loud, to be honest. These are probably just going to be computer speaker amps. I don't yet know what speakers are going to be sitting at the computer permanently. Right now, my Buchard Audio A10 models are at the computer, which is overkill. And you guys are not going to believe what preamp I'm going to be using with these going forward. Now, I have a topping XLR preamp that I'm using now for my Buchard Audios, but in the future, I'm going to be using a different preamp that's even better, but I don't quite know what kind of DAC I'm going to use. So basically, the computer system's changing. This is one part of it. And then this will be in place. These will be in place until my next monoblocks show up. Why monoblocks? Because I don't know. That's why. Because I don't know. Buckeye amps, love it. Yeah. Then there's another set of Buckeye amps that I might eventually go up to. I did some math the other day, and I'm interested in their 9040 models. The 9040 BA, which is like the next step of Purify modules. They're the top of the line, pretty much. They're second gen Egentalk amplifier tech. That's the same thing that's in the M23 NAD models. The same stuff that's in modified versions of them are in the new Marantz amplifiers. If you look inside, the modules that are being used in the Marantz Amp 10s are the Purify Audio modules, but they have updated power supplies and certain features that are unique to Marantz. So it's like a combined thing. There's a lot of other brands that are doing this as well. They're using some of these renowned amp boards in their models. And of course, you know, the Marantz models are 16 grand Canadian for a stereo pair, which is what, $8,000 per amplifier if you want to split it up, plus whatever. So you're getting a lot of the Marantz power supply, signal management, and that massive chassis. So my Purify boards and the Buckeye amps that have the same board are roughly $1,200 US each. 13, call it 13 plus taxes, whatever. $1,300 each for the Buckeye amps with the same module that's in the new Marantz Amp 10, which costs 16 grand or $8,000 per channel. You tell me, like, what, you know, these are not the best looking amps. I mean, they didn't do a bad job with some of the aesthetics. They're not ugly. They do have some heating issues. I know that the amp chip is on the bottom. It uses the whole chassis as a heat sink. I don't know how the hell they were able to extrude that in one piece. That's pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. Because it's a unibody. That the whole chassis around the edge is all one piece. There's no seams. It doesn't look like it's been welded. Maybe it was. I have no idea. But that's all unibody. Then it's bolted this way to the front. And the amp chip is on the bottom to use the whole chassis as a heatsink. So that's one thing. Hey, friends. Good afternoon, friends. Welcome, welcome. Oh, by the way, if you guys missed the stream last week, she's responsible for these. That's right there. That's her. This is her fault. Hey, not like I mind. I think they're great. What's going on here? True, Buckeye Marantz have similarities. No, great for pairing. No. This doesn't apply anymore. Women are strong and powerful and capable, and y'all have to defend yourselves now. Yeah. So let me put, actually, I'll put no, I can't do that. Maybe I can put the web page. I'll get the two web pages going. We'll talk about those amp boards a little bit more. So I'll do Purify audio. And we'll just compare a little bit of what's going on there, and then I'll show you the Marantz stuff. Marantz amplifiers. I wonder if they'll show everything inside. Wow, they're 20,000 Canadian. It's the Model 10. No, it's not. It's not showing on the web page. I need to see inside. Marantz Model 10 inside. Gotta love Google. Is that the best? There we go. That's a good one. Open link. No, I just want the image. We're doing it live, folks. Bear with me here. Welcome. I need to share number one numbers. Would love to come to Canada and visit. Well, I'm not going to share it on this for sure. I have a Discord. You guys can all join my Discord, which is open, and there are links in my profile. And we can talk offline all the time. And the same with all of my social media stuff. And then also, if you guys didn't notice and didn't join earlier, I'm basically 10 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers. So that would be really cool as a treat today. So let's do, let me see, where's the products? Okay, so share screen. I'm going to share the tab. There we go. All right, so this is the model. Kind of didn't make any difference there. I wanted to zoom in. That's the board. That's basically the 9040 board. What's going on here? Demoted to number 2. Hail number 1. I'm not number one at all. So anyways, this is the 9040 board. This is the Purify website. And what I really want to showcase with these boards is the specs. I mean, look at the specs of this amplifier. Look at the numbers. Like, if that doesn't speak for itself, I don't know what does. I've been raving about Purify audio for a long time, but like, look how many zeros there are in that distortion rating. Like, that's pretty incredible. And like I said, the Marantz are basically using that model. So like, you can see that the boards are modified. This is one here, this is one here. So there are some heat sink. I don't know why there's a heat sink attached to it. I really can't see them really needing this, but you can see that this side of the board is modified quite a bit, but this end of the board is similar. Let me switch back and forth. So there you go. So here we have the power input side, connection pins. You've got the caps, all this stuff on this side. Here's the Marantz board again. So there you go. That's pretty much the same boards. Now, obviously, they've been modified. There's an extra section here for connectivity. This is probably speaker output. I can't tell. This section's been changed. You can see there are pinholes here, which is the same as it would be on here. So this is power input, speaker output. So that's been changed. But yeah, there's, this looks like the power supply input here. Power supply per board. So true dual mono. Anyways, I'm completely nerding out on Purify here, but the point is, they have some really good tech, and comparing something like this to the Purify boards, you would think, by a lot of subjective take, you would think that it would sound dramatically better. And I can see certain areas where it would, in dynamic range, in clarity, like top-end clarity. Amps that are basically just like a chip amp. It's a good model. I mean, I'm pretty sure, what is it, a TA3200, something like that? Yes, pasta. Just showcasing all of everybody's conversations here. I welcome everybody for being here. Thank you for tuning in and just being curious enough to just join me today. We've been on for almost an hour here. My last bit of unboxing revealed that I have finally in-house the Fosi V3 monos. This is the latest versions. I got the 48 volt power supplies for these. I probably won't use all that power, to be honest, because it's basically just going to be a computer desk system, but this is what I wanted to use up front here. I've got a pretty good preamp already, so I don't really need much more than that. The speakers that I'm going to be using to begin with, I have a number of different options, and if these pair well with what I'm going to be using at first, then I can probably compare them to other things. I have the Radiant Acoustics with me still, the Clarity 6.2s. I have some Canto speakers. The Bucard Audios that I'm using now, the A10s, are already powered, so I only need the preamp. So, pasta, lasagna. Can we name, are we all just going to have like food nicknames? Is that what we can do? Audio and food? I mean, I can get down with that. Close up my other tabs here. Cool. So I mean, that's the basics of my stream. I've got the storage devices for my future streamer. I've got a number of different security measures here, cameras going in, the amps that I'm putting into my system, plus the topping preamp that I'm using, the DAC up front and streamer. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I don't really need anything new. To be honest, I think the Weem Pro Plus streamer that I'm using in my 2-channel room will migrate to the computer system, so then I can use the AKM DACs that are in the Weem Pro Plus for the computer system, and then the new streamer will be all 2-channel room, and their interactions won't conflict. There won't be a problem. So my favorite things are speakers and food. Absolutely. Usually not together though. I mean, I know there's some videos out there of guys using like milk and cereal on their subwoofers, so you can like see all that kind of, movement and that gack stuff. So like, we don't really want to mix them up. Certainly not drinks. I mean, drinking and listening is really cool, but yeah, I don't know. The red, what is it? Halo Red. I don't think I've heard of it. Uh-oh. I haven't heard of something. Then again, I'm not the professional. I don't own a shop and I'm not reviewing stuff constantly. So I'm a little bit behind there, but let's find out what it is. Let me Google schmoogle before I get offline here. I'll put it on screen. Kitsune, is that what it is? Kitsune Audio. Wow, look at that. They have the international symbols for China written on the front of the amp. That's pretty cool. It's the only way that I know that is from the Is it this? Did I get it right? Am I doing a good job? Let me see. Yeah. Hollow audio. So the hollow audio, this looks like a preamp. Hollow audio, okay. So is that the one? The red. Let's find out. Let's find out where it is. This one? Yeah, so the symbols change on the front. Look how expensive it is. But they have a BNC connection. Wow. That's fancy. Look at this. Coax? Are they BNC or are they coax? It says coax too. So hold on. So it's a streamer, which means network in, and then all of these are the outputs to a DAC. Okay, cool. So you have to use an external DAC with this streamer. So that's like the new Eversolo T8. The Eversolo T8 is the newest sort of transport streamer that would compete directly with this one. I think the T8 is going to be more expensive than this I2S connection. Pretty much all the same outputs. A little bit of the same power supply, but this little board, like a lot of this looks pretty basic. What kind of... Anyways, yeah, pretty cool. All the names except for Cobuz. Cobuz gets left out of every streaming conversation. I'm not really a fan of that. They have Cobuz Connect now. So like, what is this? So Spotify has software that's built in? That's really weird. Why would it need that? So there's all the details. Thanks for introducing us to another streamer. This is the hollow... Is it hollow audio? What is it? Products, lots of stuff in here. Look, they even make amps. Mono amps even. Shielded toroidal transformer separated from the power supply board. Well, the power supply and the audio side are like side by side. So this could have fit over here, but probably not because like, look at this. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what components in an amplifier actually make the noise which generates it. Probably this one. I'm sure that the toroidals are the ones that have like the DC voltage problems. But the power supply itself, like this side, is probably not as noisy. So they can be close proximity. Pretty cool looking amp, I gotta say. Ground connection on the outside of the amp, that's cool. I like how the power button is not directly part of the terminal itself. So I have amps. I use some other amps, and when you go to plug in the power, sometimes like in this one, you can see that it's just slightly underneath the power. But when you have the terminals that are like the power button is right on the terminal itself, and you go to plug in like these thick cables. When you go to plug this part in, and the switch is like right underneath the button, you can't like, I know that a lot of people are going to say, well, once you plug your power cables in, your amps, just leave the amp on. Don't turn your amps off anymore, especially if they're, really efficient amps. You just leave them on all the time. They're not consuming any power. Yeah, good point. But it's still freaking annoying, like to have the terminal plug and like this right underneath. So it's good to see here you have these amps and the terminal button is actually further away over here. So when you plug in the thicker audiophile style plugs or outlets, whatever, you're not actually getting in the way. So that's actually pretty cool. They have post all their measurements here. This is good stuff. Nice. Got to see brands that are doing this kind of stuff so you can verify and check what they're talking about. It's not just a whole lot of like words. I mean, as important as some of the words are, they're not everything. You need to actually prove some stuff, bro. And if people are talking about something that you don't like, how about trying to leave them alone? I'm not going to talk about that here on the stream, but it's just words, man. It's just words, and people are allowed to talk. If you have a problem with people talking, that's your own problem, not their problem. Yeah, we won't talk about that. It's sad, but we're not going to talk about it. So, thank you to Lasagna and the cables. And we're at an hour, so unless anybody has questions here, I'm just going to leave the stream as is. I've got some listening and other sampling to do in the 2-channel room. Also, if you guys are interested, the profile does have all my other links for other social medias. Things like the Discord's there, Facebook's there, Instagram is there. Instagram is a good place to go for me if you want to laugh at some random stuff, because I put all kinds of like sounds and laughter. Laughter is an audio thing, so that counts. It's all kinds of weird stuff. You guys can join me there on Instagram. That would be fun. Reach out at any time. I do have a number of people that I talk to on a regular basis. This is a funny question. I don't have one. I don't have a schedule. I'm too ADHD and unplanned and whatever. It's usually every Saturday, but not at a specific time. I'm on earlier than normal today to try and catch people and just kind of see what happens. So yeah, I just kind of stream whenever I feel like it, unless like if somebody's like, hey, do you want to meet up and do the stream here or at this time, then I can plan for it. But if someone else doesn't give me the schedule or a plan, I'm like, when is my laundry done? When do I have to go shopping? Is it raining? Am I going for a walk and coming home? And then my Amazon stuff was showing up today at a certain time. So I just decided to put a stream on right when my stuff started showing up. So I'm like, hey, look, I've got boxes. Yay! I can do the unboxing live when the boxes show up. A number of months ago, I did a live stream and I ordered pizza, and then I went to get pizza live on stream. Like, it's complete chaos. We need a little bit of that. So the whole point is I got amps, okay? I got amps. And now I have new cables to stuff in the holes of my amps. Those 4 holes right there. Tell me, I'm not going to say it. There's too many jokes there. Look, all these holes are copper. It's not actually copper. Fosi Audio won't tell you that it's copper. But yeah, these are going to be my new at-desk amps. So I will be flirting with the new cables in the new amps. Yeah. These. Do we want to see HiFi penetration right now? Is that allowed? Are we allowed to do that? Am I going to get blocked and banned from YouTube? What's up, Scott? Hopefully you're taking care of yourselves. Let me see. I'm going to new cabals. Yes, absolutely. Does a bear shirt? Yeah. It does. I mean, if you ask the rabbit, rodent PTSD is a real thing we're going to have to deal with. All right. I'm going to do some ASMR for everybody. Get in real close. This is going to be exciting. And someone else can make the joke if you see what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the terminals. They're color-coded for, reasons. And then these are color-coded for also same reasons. So what if I put this one in here? What happened? Nothing. Sorry. That was the wrong hole. The red one. So there's the connectivity. Now it's in the right hole. I got it right. It was a little bit dark there for a minute. So there we go. So those are the RI cables going into the mono blocks. Just playing around. Just playing around. Well, I have to argue with this point. So, oh my God, the insertion just made. Actually, if you want to talk about difficulty, not when you're dealing with electronics, not every hole's the right hole. I mean, it depends on what you're dealing with. If you approach the problem with the wrong equipment, if you're ill-equipped, say this is what you're dealing with, and you show up with this is indeed the wrong hole. This is USB-C. It doesn't go into XLR. This is going to cause problems. Don't do this. You guys are trying to get me canceled. It's always good to get in the right hole. Yes, absolutely. With electronics, yes. Yeah, this is our crowd. See, I told you a while ago that this is the kind of crowd that I need. All of my audience are the kinds of like alternate, whatever on the flip side sort of peoples. And I love every second of it because I'm never bored. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to end stream. We're over an hour. I love everybody that is here. I want to thank everybody for joining me for the V3 Mono unboxing. Thank you, everybody that is here and joined in. There's always a way. Smash it in there. It'll fit. Yes, but it might not work. And we know that it's too expensive to just not having it work. So we have to be careful. Have a good weekend, everybody, as well. Thank you for joining in on the stream. I know it's random and everybody needs to click the bell, click the subscribe, click the share button. There's a lot of stuff happening this weekend, lots of unboxings. I have to do another video in the other room. There's lots of stuff in there. I got to figure out where everything is going to go now. These new amps have to sit somewhere. So thank you guys for being here, supporting, showing love, being friendly. No, I don't need to insert. Well, maybe. Off camera. I will do all of my experimenting off camera. Thank you, Nick, for being here, hanging out for the duration. Appreciate you. True Voice of Reason for being here. Scott, Pasta, all of the crew. Brian was here for a little bit. APA was here for a little bit. Scotty joined us for a little while. Thank you guys for being here. It's amazing I can name everybody who was in the comments. I mean, it's not like it was still on my screen. I mean, don't. Yeah. What chat? What happened? I don't see anything. I'm just kidding. It's erased, but you guys are still there. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. The recap is basically, I'm going to timestamp some of the unboxings and showcase. I just have to wait for the video to load, get to standard quality, and then I'll probably get to the actual timestamps later on. So I'll tag a number of the names in the title. Thank you guys for being here. A reshare, I mean, it's chaos in here. Really, it's a lot of audio stuff, but it's mostly chaos. If anybody else is as unhinged and appreciates this kind of style, let them know that I'm here every weekend, at least on Saturdays. It will increase over time. I've got a situation where I'm sharing the space. I've got to pick and choose my hours. So it's not as fluent as I would like it right now, but it will improve. And there are a number of items coming to the house, preamp, streamer, another preamp as far as I remember, speakers on demo, new amplifiers are also on the way, I imagine. Some interconnects would be helpful, but I don't have solid lines of, dialogue there. I don't have interconnects on the way. But with all of these things being connected, showing off some interconnects would actually be really helpful. Don't know when it's all coming in. I have to time everything out. And then on top of all of that, Toronto Audio Fest is October 17, 18, 19 in Toronto near the hotel, Weston Hotel, I think. Can we look that up maybe? Let me see. Let me put that up as my last send-off. Toronto Audio Fest. Can my fingers Google? No, they don't want that one. This one. Share. Okay, so this is the show that's coming up in Toronto in October. I will be attending. I will be there all 3 days. I'm usually there. I have been there the last 4 or 5 years in a row. And I will be capturing, showcasing, looking at anything that I can, trying to capture as much as possible, all the kinds of demos, any of the products that are on board. I don't know what's going on yet for exhibitors. I don't know that everything is listed yet. There's lots of headphone stuff. It was a really, really amazing show in Montreal. So the Toronto show is just a further extension of that. I'm gonna as much as I can capture and showcase and share. I just want to be able to talk about this before I go, because it's coming up October 17th to 19th, Toronto. So grab tickets, check that out. I'll be bringing as much about that as possible. And to everybody who has been here to show love, support, join in the chaos, leave comments, do the subscribing and sharing thing, inviting friends to like the channel. I appreciate it. I really do, because it does help out a lot, as many others should say. And I don't want to ask for subscriptions or likes at the beginning of a video, because if I haven't done anything to earn it, then what's the point? I mean, then it's just numbers. I want people who want to be here. That's the most important. If I'm serving a purpose, if I'm entertaining, if I'm providing information, if I've answered and done questions, then thank you for that. And that's the whole purpose. I want to earn the audience. I don't want to just inflate my numbers for numbers' sake. I know that it can make a difference, but I would prefer that everybody really want to be here rather than just, oh, this is interesting, click, and then, you know what I mean, no one's around. So interacting is great, and yes, so close to 2K. It was 10 when I started, and it might roll over into, more by the time I'm done. So I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's here. The V3 monos are going to go in the system eventually. I need to wire things in right. I may swap the speakers out this weekend or maybe leave it till next weekend. Unsure at this point. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm going to take a little bit of a break between now and whenever I decide what to do next with the 2-channel system. So I'm going to go and check everything out in there. Maybe stream again, but it'll be like YouTube Live or Instagram Live or something like that. Different sort of format. I sort of talk about my music likes and interests and playlists. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later, but that won't be till about 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want, check that out. Hit the bell, and I'll see everybody in the next video, I guess. Laters, everybody. Thank you for being here and almost getting me suspended and fired and canceled on YouTube. It's been great. All right. I'm out of here. What do I got to do? I got to stop the stream first. All right. See you, everybody. Bye.